All right, so I got my Caperlan FLTB 9. See that? FLTB 9. Flown over from the UK. So essentially what I did was I went out onto the Decathlon UK site, and a buddy of mine that I work with lives in England, and there was a Decathlon like a mile and a half from his house. I ordered this. I had to use PayPal because Decathlon wouldn't take my US credit card. Paid with PayPal, had it sent to his house. Actually, no, that's not true. Had it sent to the store, so we didn't pay for shipping. Then he, like I said, it's only a mile and a half, so he went and picked it up. And then we stuck it in FedEx, and it took like a week and a half to get to me from the UK. So here it is. All right, I'm gonna take it out. All right, so there it is out of the box. There's the box. There's some paddle boards. By the way, I'm gonna check to make sure that the pumps from those paddle boards work with this float tube. So there's the bag. It's pretty nice. Feels, relatively strong. I mean, I always wonder about these types of things, construction. I see holes for it to dry in the bag. Can carry it or throw it over your shoulder. Looks like there's a shoulder strap right here that I can expand and carry over my shoulder. It doesn't have a backpack option for this bag like the paddle boards. I actually might see if I can figure out some way to make this into a backpack or find another bag like that that this thing can go into that's like a backpack. I do have a very expensive gear bag that is waterproof. That's a backpack that I use for my scuba gear, but I don't want to take that out of there. And that's like, I don't know, it's overkill. That bag would be huge. On the other hand, now that I'm talking about it, I could put my fins, my boots, clothing, everything. I could put everything pump, everything that goes with this float tube, I could put in that gear bag, and it is a backpack. And it's freaking rock solid. It's Mountain Hardware, so it's like a good piece of gear. All right, I'm gonna open it up. I'm doing this by myself, and I don't have a tripod, so I have to keep stopping. All right, so I had to open this up on a bigger surface. As you can imagine, it's not very small. Open it up, pretty simple. Came with a strap around it and a bunch of packing material. Set that aside. Set the strap aside. Okay. Now, fell to the floor. Okay. So we got pontoons and that center area. This is obviously the bottom of the float tube. There you go. I mean, these seams look rock solid. I'm hoping so. All the reviews from the people that had used it so far said it was rock solid. This is for mounting the motor, and then it looks like the channels to the top are right there. That brown bit right there is actually the top of my hot tub cover. So that's the bottom. Okay, flipped it over. Here's the top pontoon. This ends up on the side of the pontoon, or whatever we want to call this. Recommended 5 psi. Interesting. Okay. All right. Cool. My understanding is this is to mount pretty much anything that comes from Caperlan. Fish finder, I know, is something that they sell. Other accessories. You got D-rings, you got loops, right? So you got places to mount stuff. That's probably where I'm gonna mount, rod holders and stuff like that. This is that middle deck. This is where you're gonna put the chair. So when this is inflated, this will be rounded right here. Those brackets will go up. I'll show this all after I inflate it. Put the back of the chair in here. I'm assuming go over the top. Sorry, I'm not recording this. Yeah, I'm assuming you put the chair in, click it in here, over the top, Velcro it in, right? And then same thing on the other side. Over the top of the front of the chair, Velcro it in. I have the very similar thing on my Jackson kayak. D-rings for mounting stuff, because this will be the back deck. And then 3 separate inflation points for the float tube, and 5 psi. Oh, there we go, 10, that's right. So 5 on the edges and 10 in the middle. And then I'm assuming, yep, so you lock it, unlock it, lock it. So you let it up to inflate and you let it up to deflate. That's nice, because my friggin' paddle boards, you have to spin this, and when it's under pressure, it is not fun. And it looks like, so this was a concern I had from someone posting somewhere that they got it and it was clear that they required what they called a proprietary connector. But truth be told, this looks just like the paddleboard. I mean, this connection here is identical in my mind to what they're using for paddleboards. So, oops, don't want to put that in there. Take that off. So, if that's the case, then I should be good to go with my paddleboard pumps, and I won't have to buy another pump. If you get this and you don't have paddle boards, then yeah, that connection. And by the way, the Decathlon site recommends a pump, which you can't buy in the UK, which I found was really seriously silly. And then I could only find the part number that they were recommending in Decathlon's Canadian website, which of course I could have purchased and sent to the United States. However, it looks to me like pretty much any hand pump or electric pump that you would use for a paddleboard would work fine with this system. This connector is the same. I have noticed on some paddle boards that the depth of this, so sometimes they have like a pin, sort of like a bicycle pump, they have a pin down in there. And this one, if you see, there's no pin in there because this is the cap. But on the pumps, sometimes they have a pin that pushes on this. And I'll see how, I'll be very clear about what pumps, because I have some friends that have paddle boards and we have paddle boards. I'll use different pumps and I'll list them as I go, which ones work with this, so that, because that was my concern, right? That's where I was focused. And then, so 5 pounds, that's dead easy. The middle part is 10. Most paddle boards are 10 to 15 pounds. So most paddle boards that I have run into are 10 to 15 pounds of PSI. So, or in this case, I guess 7 bars. So I don't think there's a problem. I don't think there's a problem at all. I think all the pumps we get here in the United States will work fine. I don't think there's anything proprietary about it. Okay, so that's that. Next step for me will be to fill this up. I don't actually have, I do, but I'd have to, like, my electric pump is on the car. And never mind. The next video will be it inflated and set up to go. So, fitting is not so bad. If you want to turn, you gotta like, it's a little awkward to turn, but you know, this is float tubing, right? So I'm actually able to turn pretty good, so it's pretty nimble. You know, it's not like just flipping a motor and turning, but I'm able to turn. I got some B-roll from a buddy of mine who's out here fly fishing with me. The points that the pontoons are in the water, I think the seat's a little too far forward. I have to figure out how to adjust that, figure out what's going on with that. See if I can get it to sit a little higher in the front and lower in the back. I don't know if I've got it set up wrong or if I'm just too big for this thing. But anyway, doing pretty good. Talk at you later. All right, so maiden voyage complete. And I have to say, it's a good boat. I'm digging it. Super comfy. As you see from the shot to me in the water, I'm not a small dude. And I've got L5S1 Fusion. I am pushing 340, 6'2", 6'1", because you know, as you get older you shrink. Not a huge fan of this bag and the way it connects. It worked, but I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, it works, but I gotta figure out, I don't know, I gotta figure something out. The documentation is crap. Basically non-existent, so I have to find out what's going on with the bags, how to attach them. I'll probably do a in-depth video on how I attached it, but for this time I basically just ran under the strap, over the strap, and then I clipped this in and then tightened this as much as I could. But yeah, not a fan of them bags. I'll figure out something. That said, I did put, you know, a little snack and some water in there and it did fine. That's all I did. I didn't even attach the other one because I didn't need it. My next test will be, and I think this will be fine, but I'm gonna get a box, something rugged that can go in the back and hold on to stuff. I'd love the motor to review, but that is just not in the cards right now. Yeah, I'm gonna tear this thing down and get it back in the car and head off. But my maiden voyage in this little local pond, now granted this is like glass today, but yeah, I had no issues. It's you know, for a float tube, it's nimble as a float tube is, meaning that it's not nimble, but it is fast and, you know, easy to get around. Just gotta know how to fin properly. I'm wearing my scuba socks, and you can see them over there on the bench, my scuba fins. Yeah, so far I definitely give this a good review. This is a good boat. All right, so packed up from his maiden voyage. So one thing I can say about this this bag is, you know, a lot of times you get this shit, you cannot put the stuff back in the bag. And I have now packed this thing up 4 times, and it's never been a challenge to put it back in this bag. It's always been pretty doggone easy, and for me that goes a long way, because at the end of a day of fishing or paddleboarding, whatever, you gotta fight with your bag to get whatever it is that you're putting away back in. It is not fun, and I haven't had to fight with this thing one lick. You just pull it one way or the other and everything fits in. Even if it's packed a little awkwardly, it just seems to settle in, and the bag is definitely built to handle it. Sorry, some guy just distracted me because I guess he's hooked into a pretty big sized bass. He's fighting right now off a kayak way out there, fighting with a kayak. This place is packed today, relatively speaking. Anyway, maiden voyage. It's a good boat.